Hello, my name is Styx, and welcome to Styxperience, a show where I have experienced something and then I talk about it. And I have now witnessed the Ubisoft E3 2017 press conference through the magic of the interwebs, and I'm gonna analyze it here and talk about it a bit and go more or less again point by point of what went down there. I'm hoping I might be able to concise this a little bit, into a shorter video than the other two so far, but that remains to be seen. But so without further ado, they start off with a Rabbids trailer of the rabbit creatures putting their head, or well, one of them puts its head into a Mario question box, and it then gets a beginning mushroom, and gets big and hits against the camera screen, and haha, yay! So yeah, and then dude comes out and talks about it, and I think it's the boss man of Ubisoft. So then after a few moments of talking that this is the Mario crossover with rabbits, the raving rabbits, I'm not a big fan of the raving rabbits, which is one of the reasons what will probably color my idea of this a little bit, but we'll get to that. So then, something pretty unprecedented happens that Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of, Zeldas and all that stuff, and Mario and that sort of thing. I think he made Mario too. As, anyway, I mean Mario as well. So he comes out through the crowd, and he has a cannon, a toy hand cannon in his hand. And I'm like, sure. That's a bit of a weird moment, but then again, it's also kind of awesome. So he's in a Ubisoft conference. That is pretty unprecedented. Wow, I mean, I'm surprised that he's there. I'm like, whoa. Well, and then the game is then revealed to be called Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, or something like this. And then another dude comes to the stage with a toy hand cannon and gives it to the Ubisoft boss, which is silly, but it's very Ubisoft. They do a bit of a silly conference always. They have silly moments and they always have a dance number pretty much and everything like that. So that's just style that they've always, at least almost always, gone for. And next up, they talk about it, but not really giving much of a info. They just keep talking to each other, Miyamoto and the Ubisoft boss, and Miyamoto says stuff like, when I heard that they want to make a game like this, there's a translator with him, so it's, they translate the Japanese into English there. So, and then I said that you can make this game, but don't make it a jumping game. Make it something completely different that people haven't seen before with Mario. Like, okay. And it's still really surreal to see him there, though. And they talk friendly amount of stuff of friendly speech there, but they don't really go into the game itself there a lot. And at this point, we are now, and this goes on for some pretty much 6 minutes. So it's a really interesting moment, though, so I kind of forgive that a bit, but it still is a bit of a slow going to the trailer. But yeah, you get Miyamoto, you give him some minutes to just let it sink in. I get that. That's okay. And then another dude comes to talk about it a bit more, but still doesn't say much or really anything about the game. But then almost immediately a trailer of the actual games comes. And this trailer is... They stay on this game for a while. The long and short of it is that they have Mario and kind of a Roomba, just a mechanical, some sort of thingy, and then two cosplaying raving rabbits, one cosplaying as Luigi and one cosplaying as Princess Peach. And they just run forward in the Mushroom Kingdom and collect coins. I don't think they ever jumped, but not sure. Not surely not sure. Actually, they might have. I'm not just. I can't remember from the top of my head if they did. And then they, you know, show some pipe movement. They call things rabbit pipes. They go into pipes, and I'm like, yeah, Mushroom Kingdom. You go around. You go into pipes. I'm like, sure, okay. And then another trailer comes, and I'm again looking at my notes a lot because I have a lot of notes and I need to keep them in my mind to get reference point and all that stuff. So that's why I'm looking into the side there a lot, but or every once in a while. But then we get like another trailer of the same thing, and actually, before that, we get a bit of a combat moment of the game. And that's where the bewilderment really just sinks in. They essentially have an XCOM combat. That's what it is. All with half cover and flanking and everything. It's an XCOM turn-based fight scene with all that stuff, and they shoot. That I'm witnessing a Mario crossover with Raving Rabbids doing an XCOM combat sequence game. I'm not saying it looks bad at all, but whoa, I'm more confused than excited, and it's like And again, Rabbids is not really my thing, so I'm a bit like, do I? I'm not maybe. I don't really. I'm not really biting into the hype here because it's just I don't. With rabbits, they just annoy me. I don't like them at all. To me, they just stain a thing that they're in. That's really all there is to that. But then they go into another trailer of the same game with the rabbits, being idiots all around, intentionally, and Mario being the straight man, like, okay, sure, fine. And they show actually Princess Peach as well and Yoshi during this thing, and then a big rabbit, a giant rabbit, comes in front of these characters, and he has a DK Donkey Kong necktie. And like, okay, well, you're doing something different, that's for damn sure. It's probably not for me. I don't feel the need to play that because rabbits they rub me the wrong way. I don't like them, but I hear a lot of people really liked what they saw here, so good for them. That's awesome. And then we move on. Roughly when we're done with this game, we're roughly 17 minutes in, so giving you an idea of where we are here. And then the Assassin's Creed Origins game director comes to talk about it. Says he loves the series and loves how the series has been in the pirates and all revolutionary wars and the Crusades and Victorian England and just lists that stuff. Not really talking about the game. A couple of minutes later, they give a cinematic trailer of the game, and they do say actual in-game footage in 4K, but it's always with these in-game, in-engine. Even those words have lost their meanings a bit, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like a cinematic trailer at least. So but it looks good still to look at that, and it just shows the Egypt. It's rivers, deserts, buildings, construction sites, cities, animals, crocodiles, that sort of stuff, caves. Looks super pretty. I'm still not sure if I care though. It's Assassin's Creed. I've played that a whole lot in my time already. Like, yeah, well, and then the same dude talks some more about the game, but really just buzzwords and not really going into anything that would differentiate it from what the other creeds are so far. I've mentioned the mechanical stuff with the eagle and the jump with the bow and all that, but there's not much else to really that I've seen to differentiate it, like diving to kill crocodiles, but sure. And then they start a trailer for The Crew 2, a cinematic trailer, which looks nice. They show a city and the cards, or a bunch of cars in a line, and a motorcycle and airplanes as well just go around, and the world is folding in on itself, like in Inception or Doctor Strange or something. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I, I they really never gave any clue of what that was supposed to, signify. Why does the world go like into a 90-degree angle in the horizon? I'm like, why? I don't. Sure. And it also shows that they have powerboats and monster trucks. So very nice then. But and but it's not in game, so I'm like, you don't need to show much more. I get that you have these different things, and they keep on that for 3 minutes. I'm like, okay, but sure, but it looks it's fun to watch, I'm sure, but it's kind of like, I get it, a car game, The Crew 2. I hope you get it, to be more stable, and the cars will feel better this time, so it'll be better to actually play. But well, we'll see. And then a person comes talking about it, but he doesn't really say anything. He says stuff like, "America is the greatest motorsport country in the world," and just says these things not related to the game, just to hope to get a couple of claps. I'm like, why? And he does it for like 2 minutes. Like, why? Sure. And then another trailer, and this time I think it's in engine of the game, of The Crew 2. It looks fine, but not exactly Forza level is fine. But it's Forza is in a different league, I guess, in a lot of ways. So I guess that's I can live with that. That's and it is a big open world. So it's there's so much more quantity that it can't look as good as something like Forza. That goes without saying, I suppose. But then they do indeed show that there's cars, bikes, cross country, off road, planes, boats. But I mean, I at this point I get the point. You're not giving any story things other than you are some sort of badass racing sports person, I guess. But then they do this for like 3 minutes, this trailer, which is, yeah, I get it. It has these different vehicles and monster trucks, and it just keeps on going for 3 minutes. I'm like, I get it. Can we move on? You're not giving any reason for me to care about the other stuff I'm seeing. It's not. They're just driving with their things in water or off road or on roads, and it's not showing anything new for. It shows all it has in the first minute, and then the next 2 minutes it's just the same thing and nothing changed. I'm sure. And the dude says stuff like, a beta access, this and that, and buy. So sure. And then we get into a trailer of South Park: The Fractured Butthole. The next South Park game after the Stick of Truth. It looks great, fine. It looks like you would expect it to look, really. It has some, slogan words in between, just footage of the game's moments. I'm like, yep, sure. I think it might be a bit hard to show that game, but it's. I'm curious. The first one was super good. I wouldn't really hype with the trailer here, but the game is still probably going to be pretty okay if it's anything like the first one. So that's fine. And then again, there's another trailer of, and this was weird. Elijah Wood, the actor, starts talking to us about something called specter vision and about going into someone's mind, and it's probably a VR thing, and it's trying to be really trippy and weird and disturbing and psychologically just weird, and it ends, and I'm like, what was that? I don't know. No, sure. And and then the Ubisoft boss comes back to give the trailer of something that starts in 1791, and this is the trailer of Skull and Bones. It's essentially what it seems to be is that they took the ship combat mechanic of Assassin's Creed 4 and just made a game around that, which I can live with that. That look and the it looked beautiful and all that. The first they gave a cinematic trailer of it and then a gameplay stuff of it after that with some they talk about it a bunch, but it still wasn't very clear to me. They says like they say stuff like 5 versus 5 PvP here, and you can go. I think they maybe mentioned you can go alone as well, but it's really, is that also a single player game? If not, I'm out again. So, but it looks pretty nice, and I mean, it's a pretty decent idea to build a game around, at least to try that, I guess. So, sure, I'm curious at least to see what that comes to, but it's like late 2018 or something, so it's a ways away still. And they talk about, mortars, cannons, spotting ships, but really not telling me, is it also single player? So I don't know. And then they show a cinematic trailer of that game still, and that's the third one in a succession, and they show a kraken taking down a ship. So like, okay, there's krakens too then in the game. Sure, but okay. Again, curious. And then we have the dance number moment. We have these Mortal Kombat neon robot ninjas doing the robot dance, and then other people join the dance and do dancing, and someone comes singing, and it's like, I get it, just Dance 2018. Sure, can we move on? Sure, but that's what they always do. I'm not into the moment really, but that's Ubisoft for you, and it's the style they always want to go for. So I'm like, sure, I guess, whatever. But I don't really go for that. But sure, whatever. It's like, if you need to grab something from the fridge, that's the moment to do it. So fine. And then they go to looking at the notes here again. I need to... Oh, and they mention a South Park phone game where Cartman yells at you through your phone screen and grab your phone and grab your stuff and go. It might be... I think it's something like cards or turn-based or something. Sure. It might be fun, but really remains to be seen. And a lot of phone games out there, but that's you're trying stuff. That's fine, but not a whoa moment or anything, obviously. But still, they have that there. And then there's a trailer with a narrator that talks about worlds. Well, a spaceship flies to planets and some cartoony people, and then they cut to a really big looking plastic spaceship peripheral toy thing on top of what looked like a Nintendo controller, like a Switch controller or something. Like what? Sure. So it's apparently some sort of a Toys to Life, like boom, a huge ass plastic toy plane thing onto your controller, and yay, we play the. Sure. And it's called Starlink Battle for Atlas, I believe. Like, okay, well, you're the laser tag of this year almost or something. Sure, whatever. Okay, probably not my thing here, but if you know say so. And the dude comes out to talk about this, and he says stuff like, building custom starships and physical starship collectibles are the toys to life, and digital things as well are in the sure. So that's your game then, but. Okay, well, I was hoping for an actual, just a space exploration game, but, no can do. And then they go to another talker who talks a bit of steep and tells that there's a steep expansion coming, and it's an expansion involving the 2018 Olympics. Apparently, they have the Olympic what should they call them, vests in they on the snowboarders and all that stuff, and the so it's in to celebrate the South Korea Winter Olympics. I'm like, okay, sure, that makes sense. I never played Steep. It didn't really get enough, good reviews, and I wasn't that interested. Time limited and all that. I'm like, well, but sure, it does make sense though. Not maybe for me, but sure. And then we have the trailer of Far Cry 5, where it shows fields, a road, a bit of a church there, and inside the church is a cult with some AK-47s, and they start singing like the Southern American or whatever the I don't really know if it's just Southern or that's probably not just Southern that I think about it, but the singing kind of an church moment where they do a religious singing there with the leader of the cult doing the singing, that he's being the priest leader or whatever in that, and he raises up his AK and that's the trailer. So okay, that didn't really tell me anything I didn't pretty much know already, but sure. And then a talker comes here, and they and he actually tells a couple of things about the game that actually means something. That's like almost the first thing or the first time I think that has happened this entire press conference, and we're like an hour in. I'm like, whew. The other talkers, they're all enthusiastic. They all want to be there, but they all talk about how they love this franchise or are so excited to be here and show this great nation and the motorsports. And they didn't talk about a game actually there, but this one talks about the game. And he says that you're in cult territory, the roads are closed, there's no cell phone reception, and you need to get your guns for hire, to build up a group to, survive and all that. And then they show a gameplay trailer with, he goes with a revolver and meets his a sniper friend, and then pretty much after a bit of sneaking, assaults the cultists in a city with the help of that sniper, a dog, and an airplane dude who drops like a bomb. Although if they have an airplane, why don't they just fly away from the plane? Details, I'm sure, yes. And they mentioned co-op with a truck, slamming into the enemies. And the point there for them is to liberate the town of the cultists. So, okay, it's a really light-hearted thing. They show a really, light-hearted music in between there, lots of explosions, and yay, man, like. It's kind of a juxtaposition to the notion that they're tackling some pretty they've raised some controversy with the subject matter, I believe. I was maybe expecting something a bit more serious, but do what you wanna, I suppose. It looks fine, but nothing really stood out to me like, oh, sure. And then we have a trailer. And this game is the crunch of the press conference here, and so it starts with some neon lights, looks like a futuristic city, a Japanese part of that city, and there's a pig man. And if there's Ubisoft with a pig man, your mind immediately goes to Beyond Good and Evil 2. and mine did too. And that it is that, but whoa, did it not feel like it at like it didn't really seem like to be that at first. There's like this talking monkey with pretty much a bionic commando arm or a grappling hook arm to get him out of a situation where he scammed some money out of what I would assume is a crime lord or something, and then the monkey meets his afro head or something, a lady friend with whom they in a flying ship, then a small ship, escape the area, and they show the city, which really looks like if you put Fifth Element, but add to that a Japanese, Indian, and like Cambodian and Thailand sort of architecture around it. It's like a really, really multi-Asian Fifth Element city. That's really what it looks like, with flying cars and everything. So, so then they fly away from the authorities and manage to blow up like a huge, maybe a police flying ship or something, and then they go into what looks like to be their base or something, and then faster than light or light speed just away there. That's what I interpret that happened. And then it says Beyond Good and Evil 2. I'm like, okay, it didn't feel like Beyond Good and Evil 2 after the Pigman, really. Yeah, but okay. And then there's people coming to talk about it. Two people, and they say that it happened. It takes place long before the events of Beyond Good and Evil, in a distant solar system. Which I'm kinda... If you remember the first teaser of the game, as far as I understood, they showed the actual Pigman from the first game and Jade. And so that was then nothing, or I'm kinda bummed. So this takes place before that game, and pretty much it might as well be in a galaxy far, far away. Like, it's almost like doing its completely different thing, just happens to be called Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I'm glad that there's a game called Beyond Good and Evil 2. And it's perfectly possible they have the exact same kind of mechanic that the first game did. But it's super nice to see that, to have that exist, but I am kind of bummed that then we don't get to finish the story or see what happens to the characters of Beyond Good and Evil 1. Like, what do we do about the pigman who has the thing in his hand, and what do we do then? So this has nothing to do with that game, essentially. Then what is what I'm gathering from that. I hope they just maybe through a black hole go into the future and meet the main characters. Sure, if they do that, that's fine. But if this when it comes out, if it honestly does not tie into, and even through fucking time travel or something, resolve things and show us what happens after Beyond Good and Evil 1, I'm actually not happy. I'm a bit disappointed. I mean, it's fine to have a game like that. That's like a minor plus, but it should have been so much more then. I'm like, that actually... I might be completely alone on this, but that's a prequel in a faraway solar system really actually sours it for me a bit. Because as far as I understand, the game might as well then be called the Bionic Commando Monkey in the Galaxy Far, Far Away game. So that really kind of bugs me there, so... I don't know. It's... How should I... It rubs me the wrong way, and I feel like the name, and I don't know yet if it does or doesn't tie into the first game in a really tangible way, but if it does not, I'll be bummed We will see. I hope for the best here. Maybe it'll be all awesome and good and tie into it and be all yay. But also, if it's a prequel, you call it Beyond Good and Evil 2, though. You didn't call it Beyond Good and Evil Origins, like Assassin's Creed or Origins. I know that I don't mean to have exactly that name because that is a generic bad name. I've said so before, but if it's a prequel, I'm kinda against calling it Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like an I I mean I no. That's a bit of a I'm worried for that a bit here. But at least they're doing something with a license, I suppose. But that's really pretty much the end of it. They talk about the game again, or they next just mention the distant solar system stuff, and then the boss joins them. That's what I was going to, and praises them for being developers of this game, and he thanks all the other devs and a dev team or representatives of probably all the different kinds of teams. I would have to, that's my guess, come to the stage, and there's a lot of clapping and feel good, yay, and bye. That's the end of the press conference then. So really what we came out of this with was we had the Mario Rabbids game, they showed AC Origins, the Assassin's Creed game, The Crew 2, and checking the notes here so that I hope I don't miss anything. South Park Fractured But Whole, the weird ass Elijah Wood, whatever the fuck we just saw and witnessed, and is it even a game? Is it a VR semi experience? What are we looking at? That I don't know really. But that's still a thing. And the Skull and Bones and Far Cry 5, well, Just Dance 2018, I suppose, so if you're counting games, but sure. But it's really don't care. The South Park phone game and that's really, and the Steep DLC, which is then puts it into technically, I guess, 11-ish games with then that Beyond Good and Evil. So 11, 12 games, but Just Dance and the phone game. So 10-ish games is what we have here from this entire thing. So especially with the Crew thing, and actually also with the Blood and Bones stuff, it's the trailers with showing the game and all that, they kind of dragged. It's like, I get what we have here going here, and especially the Crew. I was like, I get it. Can we go on? And they spent like all those 17-ish minutes or something on the Rabbid game. Yeah, 17 minutes on the Rabbid game in different ways. Trailers, talking with Miyamoto. I get talking with Miyamoto is important. That's actually kind of fine, but still the end result is 17 minutes on that one. Sure. But yeah. So what was bad then in the whole thing? So, and I'll end with the good stuff though, and then give a grade. So the bad stuff was that indeed the pacing was a little off. It's slowed down and then did something and slowed down again and did something. That was it had a bit of a stop and go feel to it, which for example the Microsoft one flowed much faster and better forward the whole thing. So but I think Ubisoft has always had a problem like this, so there is that. And for me it had a bit of a really a lull moment with the Crew thing, and I didn't need a just dance number thing. They dwelled a bit long for me on maybe the Rabbids Mario stuff, but I get that it's such a new thing. I'm probably alone on that. but still. But overall, this was a pretty okay one, a good one, and in the okay good-ish good range. And the good stuff, really, I enjoyed watching most of the trailers to an extent, like, you know, the cinematic Assassin's Creed one, at least one of the crew ones, half of it, when it wasn't, dragging, and the Blood and Bones one of them, the Kraken, and then like half of the other stuff, because that they did a lot on that, and I was like, okay, I get it. Ships, can you tell me, is it single player? And I really didn't get a good answer there to my ear. And then the Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer looked really, really nice and good. It was a cinematic one, but still, it was good to watch, but prequel somewhere. So it's the story here is there's no low lows really. A lull moment with the dancing, and beyond that, like little dragging a bit but going, dragging a bit but going, dragging a bit here and going. So no, like, there was no disasters, but Beyond Good and Evil was like the one bigger blip, but it really gets down for me because prequel, far away. The first game probably doesn't matter then. And if it does matter, they didn't communicate that at all. So if it's tied into the first game really tangibly, they didn't communicate that, and that was maybe a mistake, at least in my view. And I mean, sure, surprises are good, but what they came out saying, the message they came out with was that it's probably not related in any way to the first game. So therefore, small height. And we're like, okay, yay, okay, steep DLC, okay, Crew 2, okay, try to get it right this time. Oh, and the Crew 1 really, at least for me, it still doesn't work, really. It crashes all the time, not like, every second or something, but doing a 3-hour race is really risky because it'll probably crash during that at some point. It's so unstable. That's really the main problem I have with it. And it does that both with 360 and Xbox One for me, at least. So I don't, no. So that's the main thing. Make it stable and make it feel good, and I'm trying it then. But so yeah, there's not really a lot of, and Far Cry, I was like flatlining. It wasn't going down for me, but I'm like, Far Cry 5, okay, and you shoot things and boom, boom, boom. Sure, I'm like, okay, so what? This is one of those weird ones to try and grade. I got a feeling other people are more hyped on this than I am. With the Raving Rabbit stuff, they're like through the roof with the Beyond Good and Evil 2 thing, which I'd love to talk with someone who really is into that, trailer reveal, because, I mean, it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the other games, so it might as well not be called that then. I'm not convinced about that at all. They didn't sell it to me, really, at all, that. So, but it's still a minor positive mostly throughout, with lull moments, small, and so it evens out to something like, usually a Ubisoft conference feels like a really, it's like an okay 7.5 to 8 kind of a thing here. And I think it kind of falls somewhere in that area, and I'm really I feel like I might go with, because there wasn't really anything to feel bad about, not really. I wasn't really expecting a Beyond Good and Evil to begin with, so that was like, okay, a small bonus, even though it's, not maybe, as good as people hope it will, because, prequel and somewhere, but sure. So my mind is rolling around the number of 7.8. It's like a 7.7, 7.8 range-ish. It's close to an 8, but for me the big, hitters didn't really hit, because the pirate game, I didn't get a good communication of, can I play it by myself and actually just against AI and not do the multiplayer thing? If I can, that's good, but I didn't really get that information, to, concretely from that. And the Beyond Good and Evil thing fell flat for me. Far Cry didn't show me anything to get excited really about. Like, okay, sure. And with the Crew, the one thing I care about is, will it control well and is it stable? And a trailer doesn't tell me that, so I'm like, you're making the Crew too, sure, good for you, but make it good, I hope. And then I'm in. So and yeah, I am in the minority of I don't really care about doing XCOM combat with rabbits and Mario. That's really just that doesn't blip anything in my brain. Maybe I'm just jaded, but I don't care. If I want to play XCOM, I'll play XCOM, or like Shadowrun Returns. That's the same thing with the combat, really. But yeah, so that I don't see myself trying that even. I'm like, that doesn't move me because, again, I don't like the rabbits. They annoy me to no end, really. I'm like, nah, I don't want to look at you in any game ever. I'm sorry. It's just not for me then. And the South Park thing, like, I remember you're making it, we know, and I have a feeling it'll be good, like the last one was, but the trailer didn't really do much for me. But it's I think it's probably a difficult thing to show. You're just showing, pretty much, moments of South Park as episodes almost. So it's like, yeah, that sure is South Park. So but yeah, with that I'm gonna, because there wasn't anything to really truly complain about, like, what are you thinking? Why? No. So, a 7.8, they did a solid, okay Ubisoft, not really high or low feel thing. And I'm like, okay, that's they could have gone bad. I didn't do one about the Bethesda one, and I'm not gonna. But that was, for example, really bad. There's a quick moment. The Bethesda one did not need to be a conference, had 3 really good trailers, but it was, held together by this really super dumb and slow and stupid animation of a theme park, which is then go from place to place, and they had no reason to ever have anyone on any sort of a stage. Like, start on a stage, end on a stage, like, hello, and then just, bye, and that was that. They should have just had it like a digital Nintendo Direct sort of a thing or whatever. But yeah, that was just nah. But good trailers though. That they were there, but the other stuff, it didn't need to be a conference. Is the point? But this one was 7.8, and I am all out of time here. I believe I've gone through this pretty much now here, but I do hope you've enjoyed my little vlog of the Ubisoft press conference here, and do tell me if you agree or disagree with me about something, and if you have enjoyed this, please do drop a like or a comment, or even subscribe or share if you want to. It would really, really help, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.